All right, so we're doing a pizza system. So let's have a look. All right, so the entity. So who is the entity? So we have customers. So we get customers as the entity. In the current manner of employee has to go through three different activities in order. So the first one is receive the order. So that one is a verb. So let's change that one. So we get receive the order, which is getting of customer information. So that is a data point. So we get customer information and order information and the ingredients. So that is the data. Then we have the same process also checks the availability of the ingredients. So that also there is a process there which is checks the availability before setting the order as valid. When the pizza order is valid, so valid order, so that is a data point as well. Employee in charge of receiving the order provides the valid information to the cook to who makes the pizza. Okay, so that's the first activity. That's already good enough because this first activity, that means that's our first process, right? The second activity, making the pizza, consists of getting the ingredients needed from the containers and actually cooking the pizza. At the end of the process, so I'm thinking here, the actual cooking process, we can completely ignore it because, oh, well, at the end of the process, the cook has to update. So that is a process. Process is red. So we got yellow, which is the cook. So that's something else that we need. So the cooks. So the cooks, that's a verb, that's a noun, so that's an entity. Now it has to update the manual file that keeps track of the ingredients. Then provide the drivers in charge of delivering the pizza with the completed status of the order. So we get completed status and then we also have the drivers. The final activity, delivering the pizza done by the driver, consists of getting in the address. So we get the driver getting in the address. So we have to get the address. Getting the address and payment information from the employee in charge of receiving the order and actually delivering the pizza. The drivers then provide the customer with the receipt and get the payment. So we have to provide the receipt to the driver and then the driver will provide the receipt to the customer. All right, so let's have fun with this. So we got the customer here. Customer orders pizza and then they provide their customer details and order details. Now, what we're doing here is that the system is actually replacing the employee. So employee is doing the process, right? So then what's happening here is that we need to do validate the orders. And then to do that, we need to check against the ingredients database. So ingredients database is the entity. How can I place ingredients? Ingredients database. And then in here we have the order requirements, order ingredients requirements. So the ingredients database will provide the available ingredients, and then we can validate the orders. Once the orders is valid, then it get passed into the cooks. Send order to cook. So cooks receive, send order to cooks, and then the cooks will receive the valid order with the right ingredients. So once the cook finish cooking, once the cook finish cooking the pizza, then it will update the used ingredients. So the cook will provide the used ingredients based on what they're cooking, and then we have to update the ingredients database. Ingredients database, and then we copy that one. Oh, what the hell I did there? Magic. Yeah, so we copy that one to here. So the cooks will update the ingredients database. So once the ingredients database is done and then the pizza is ready, the driver will get delivery information, delivery details, which contains the customer details and payment, payment info and receipt. So the driver will need to get the receipt, and then the driver take the pizza, deliver it, and then get the payment or give the receipt, right? So the interaction between the driver and the customer, that doesn't really matter. Send order to cooks, valid orders, update ingredients database, um, and then notify the driver of the ready. So in here we get also we have one more here on the driver. It says ready status. So we need to tell the driver of the ready status, which I think we don't need it. I think the process will be fine. So we have to do context level and level 0, so that's fine. So let's do context level then. All right, so first we have customers order pizza by providing customer details and order details. So in here we have a system. So let's just context level. So this is the system, pizza system, right? And then the customer. So we have the customer here. And then the customer provides the system with customer details and order details. So that's the first part. So customer provide customer details and order details. Then validate happens internally, so we don't have to worry about it. That's in the database. And then we need to send the orders to the cooks. So we basically here we send a cook. So we send the order. So what we do in here is that we send a valid order to the cook. Remember, the system has to validate it, so that's why it says valid order. Order to the cook, and then the cook will cook, and then when it finish, it will have to notify the system. Here are the ingredients that I have used. So we can just call it used ingredients or ingredients list. I cannot spell, but that's fine. So after that one is done, then the pizza system talks to the, so after we got that one there, the pizza system send the info to the driver. So the driver here will receive delivery and payment details. Delivery, payment details, and receipt. So that is the context level of the DFD. Reasonable?
Mm.
All right. So now let's do the level 01. So let's copy that one. We don't need the pizza system because we already have that one. So we have in here. So this is where we expand this a little bit more. So let's move it to the left. We can move the cook to the right. So then this is where we follow the story. So the first story is that customers still send the order details and the employee or the system will need to validate the order or receive the orders, right? So what we need to do in here is that we can take a shape and then I'm gonna find something in here. I'm gonna put the cook down here because we actually need the database. So we have the database here because we need to store the customer details. So the customer will send the full order. So we have that one there, which is basically customer details and order details. So what we can do is we can keep track of this. So we can just store the customer details into the customer database. And then this one here, we can call it step 1.0, receive order. All right, so we save customer details and order details. We store the customer details to the data store for now. And then we just gonna need that one there needs to be changed into the, no, you know what I mean. So now we split up the orders that we receive from the customers. So in here, we'll pass on the order detail to process number 2, which is validate orders. And then this one here, we're gonna call it order details. So we separate the data into 2 sets. And then we need a database because we have ingredients list or ingredients database. Ingredients list. And what we need to do is that we need to ask the ingredients, available ingredients. Ingredients. So we need to know what is available before we can validate the order, right? Because if the order is not valid, we can send a notification back to the customer. We can tell the customer invalid order. So that's one way we can do it. Now, once the order is valid, then we can send the order to the cook. So valid order is being sent to the cook. So the cook is now cooking everything. And then now, once the cook finished cooking, we then need to update. The cook will say, okay, I use this much ingredients. So we now need the next step here, step 3.0, update ingredients. So what the cook will provide to the system is what we see here is the ingredient list. So basically all the ingredients that the cook has used. And once we receive that one, we need to update our ingredients list. So we're gonna send that one back to the database, and then we're gonna say here, used ingredients. Ingredients. So once that one is done, what we will need to do is that we notify the driver. The driver will notify the driver that uh, that we notify the driver. Let's bring it down. The driver shouldn't do that. So let's bring it down. Order ready. So we can notify the driver that I don't have it in here, so we can probably skip it altogether. So we can just basically skip it all together, and then we just need another process here, which is process number 4. Create delivery details, which is the delivery details will put in the customer details, and also it will need the order details from here as well. I don't like it. Yeah, I'm happy to do it. I don't like the flow here. I know we will need customer details from here, but valid order that goes to the cook, and then the cook notifies back the used ingredients list. So we can, and then that needs to trigger that needs to trigger our fourth process. So that needs to trigger here. So that needs to provide the order details here. So that still needs to trigger the delivery details. So the delivery details receive that one. It pulls the info from the customer database, and then it sends here delivery details, payment details, and invoice and receipt. So that is how I think that should work. So customer sends an order, we receive the order, we save the customer details, we send the orders to be validated. The validated orders will get the available ingredients from the ingredients database. If it's not valid, send back to the customer, not valid order. So which means that we need to have another line in here that says invalid order. Um, then, then if it's valid, then it will send a valid order to the cook. The cook will cook everything, and then it will notify the updated ingredients list, which then updates the database, but also notifies this one that's okay, order is done. So then the delivery details will pull in the customer details from the database, and then it will create the delivery details, payment details, and the receipt to the driver, and the driver will send the pizza to the customer. That is how I will solve the DFD.